This is it, Mr. Frodo. If I take one more step, this is the furthest I've ever been from home. Come on, Sam.
Subscribe.
The European Championship is the largest and most prestigious Yu-Gi-Oh event in the world that you can compete in as an average Joe. The base level of gameplay at this event is much more competitive than any other event because you have to actually earn your invite at some point throughout the year by topping a tournament, whether that be an OTS championship, a regional, a nationals. So every duelist in the room is at least somewhat competent. Despite earning myself an invite multiple years in a row, I've never actually gone to Euros before. But after our run at UK Nationals with Elf Note Red Dragon Archfiend, I wanted more Yu-Gi-Oh! We've kind of been starved for big events here in the UK, so I wanted to make a point to gather up a couple of people, make the trip to Belgium, and take Red Dragon Archfiend to the next level. So this is how I almost became a European champion with Red Dragon Archfiend. So this year, Euros actually had two main events. They had the standard advanced format main event that they have, you know, every year that you kind of expect, and then for the first time ever, a Genesys Championship main event as well, which would be like the first ever big Genesys tournament in Europe. And both events are free to join, so you might as well just play both, right? The Genesys event starts on the Friday, the main event as always starts on the Saturday, and then if you qualify, both events have their day 2 on the Sunday. If you somehow happen to be an absolute god gamer like Herman Hansen and qualify for both, you have to actually just pick one of them to compete in for day 2. And obviously you would just choose the main event, right? Because the main event you actually get a pack for qualifying for day 2, whereas in the Genesys event, you don't. I don't know why, I don't make the rules, it's kind of sad, but, you know, it is what it is. Leading up to this event, of course, we've been figuring out all of the different Red Dragon Archfiend builds and how to play them competently. Of course, with the release of Chaos Origins, we did get a couple of new ones with the Angeliki cards and the Rolad cards, but those were still a little too new to figure out and optimize with the time we had available. So it was pretty much settled that I was going to be playing one of the older Red Dragon Archfiend builds for the main event. If I wanted the absolute best shot at doing well, we would just be running it back with Elf Note Red Dragon Archfiend, because objectively that is just the best build of Red Dragon Archfiend competitively. But I wanted to see how far we could get with a more pure approach, and therefore I had decided that I was going to be playing Red Dragon Albaz for the main event at Euros. From there, with that decision out of the way, we then just had to figure out Genesys format. Unfortunately, there's not actually a whole lot of content around Genesys, so there isn't really a solid way to figure out what the format looks like without kind of tuning into people's streams and stuff like that, but we didn't have time for that. I ended up labbing a bunch of different Genesys Red Dragon Archfiend combos. I tried to play as many games as I could online leading up to the event to try and figure out the format a bit. I threw some theory together in terms of non-engine with the cards that I had available in like my bulk boxes and my staple binders and stuff, but nothing like super in-depth. I'm not a mad Genesys gamer, I haven't really been looking at the format recently, so my expectations weren't super high, but fuck it, we ball. Let's go to Euros. Now, typically with a big event like this, we go down on the Thursday and then we have all of the Friday to, you know, chill, do some cool activities around the city and just have a good time with the boys. But with the main Genesys event starting at 9 AM on the Friday, we're like immediately pressed for time. We arrived in Belgium around 5 PM-ish on Thursday, deck list of course needing submitted within the next 2 hours, while figuring out transport, shopping, dinner, all while we're getting melted in 30-degree heat, man. It was a bit chaotic mentally, but we finally got to our villa around 8 PM, make some food, and then we can try to prepare for the weekend ahead, which takes us to day 1. Alright, so day 1 of 3 full days of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think it's possible to mentally prepare for this much Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever, and I'm pretty sure I got maybe like a couple of hours sleep. If there's one thing I struggle with, it's going to sleep in the heat. 30-degree weather, like, bro, dude, it was insane. I don't think I used my duvet or my pillow the entire weekend. I was just raw dogging it in front of the fan. But anyway, we get our 20-minute Uber to the venue at about 8 o'clock in the morning. We're checking out the vendors, things like that. We go and pick up our entry pricing, where we get this very interesting graphic design is my passion playmat. I'm sure you've heard about it. We also get the same sleeves that we got from topping Nationals. And then we got a coin as well. I got the honest coin, just a silver one, not the gold one. I'm not that lucky, unfortunately. Konami hates me. But yeah, we are ready to get some Genesys gaming under our belt and just play Red Dragon Archfiend to our heart's content. There ended up being roughly around 350 players in the main Genesys event, which ended up being 8 rounds of Swiss on day 1. And then there would be 4 rounds of Swiss on day 2, plus top 8.
Yes, and your deck. Good luck, gamer.
We're gonna just quickly go through our matchups here. So round 1, we lose a dice roll against Fairy Tail, which this deck is basically fully unpointed in Genesys format, man. It's crazy. They're also playing like a little tuning engine so they can make Crystal Wing on top of their normal end board, so the board is just like crazy. We somehow break the board going second twice. We 2-0 Fairy Tail. Round 2, we lose a dice roll to Doom Z, and we get shifted in this match, which is really annoying, but we can still do like a couple of things through shifter. And we end up winning that round 2-1. Going into round 3, we finally win the dice roll against Radiant Typhoon, so we're kind of playing against like advanced format decks, which I guess is kind of like the joke, right? Today's cards, yesterday's gameplay, except it's today's gameplay. We're just playing Advanced Light, but we are able to also beat Radiant Typhoon. They're very, very close to breaking our board because we don't really interact well with all of their spell cards. My last interruption is Hypernova, and I realize that if I use the Hypernova to interrupt them and they can still playing, there's a chance they kill me. Whereas if they just cannot out the Hypernova and we sit on it, we probably just win. That's our like win condition. They end up not being able to out it for like 7 or 8 turns and we eventually win. So we're 3-0. Round 4, we get our first taste of Blitzkrieg, right? I knew this was a good deck. I didn't realize how prominent it would be in the format. I didn't play against it in many online games. Obviously, all of the content around Genesys was like maybe a little outdated, I guess, so it wasn't really revolving around Blitzkrieg as a deck. I figured it would be good, and so I kind of wanted some techs against the deck, but I couldn't find any, unfortunately. They went blind second. It was actually Julius from Edinburgh, so it was a really fun match. We lost that 2-0. Our deck basically hard loses to removal, and that deck is nothing but removal and strong non-engine. If they go second, they have Nibiru, Perulia, Fuwalos, like, there's nothing we can do. If they open Crackle Whisker, there's nothing we can do. It's a really, really difficult matchup, so maybe not the format right now for Red Dragon Archfiend, and that makes sense because there was barely any Red Dragon Archfiend around me. But yeah, that was our first loss. Round 5, we get paired against Magnet Warriors. I don't really know what this deck is doing in Genesys format. I know it's always been a pretty good deck in Genesys, but I don't know what kind of like the end board is, whether they're ending on like Nat Beast and things like that, or if it's just magnet things. Anyway, we won the dice roll, we broke the board, and then while we were siding, we got deck checked. It felt a little funny because we're mid-game, we're some random X1 table, and we're getting deck checked. It felt a little bit weird, but yeah, deck check came back, no real issues. I got a warning on one of my cards being like a little bit warped. It wasn't a game loss or anything, so it was no big deal. And then we went on to win that match as well. Round 6, we got paired against another Blitzkrieg deck. This time we lost a dice roll, but this time we won 2-1. There's like a little bit of a debate with the Blitzkrieg matchup because their non-engine is so strong, and if they draw Crackle Whisker going second, you basically get FTK'd. So there's an argument to make them go first. But if you make them go first, you're basically allowing them to set up their entire board guaranteed. So I don't know, dude. It's a little bit of a weird matchup, and I could never figure it out. It was really weird in this tournament. Anyway, we're going into round 7 with an X1 record, which is pretty good, and we get paired against another Blitzkrieg. This time, we win the dice roll, and we lose 2-1. Like I said, it's a weird matchup. It's hard to figure out, and we didn't quite get all the techs we needed for this matchup in time. While I was on the train to the airport for Euros, I asked the group if anyone had my body as a shield to like tech into my deck for the Blitzkrieg matchup. Nobody had it, unfortunately, so I couldn't find it. If I did find it, dude, it would have came up so much because all of my matchups are like Blitzkrieg here. So we're going into the final round of the day. We're X2. We have to win this one if we want to qualify for day 2. We get paired against Blitzkrieg. We lose the dice roll, but we do take it 2-1. We just got finished day 1 of the main Genesys event. We have qualified for day 2, going X2 with Red Dragon Archfiend. Hell yeah. But now, we literally have less than an hour to figure out and submit.
Attention duelist of the
Alright, we just finished day 1 at the Genesys main event. We've somehow made day 2, but we literally now have an hour to figure out our list for the main event and submit it. So we're kind of stressing doing that. Robertson's over here, building his Mitsu list.
Somehow this has made the cut.
That's made the cut?
Yeah, it came up in the advanced tournament.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, that's good to know. Alright.
I really didn't expect to do so well at the Genesys event, so I thought I would have time throughout the Friday to figure out the exact list that I want to play for the advanced format. Instead, after finishing 8 rounds of Genesys, I had less than an hour to put everything into Neuron and submit the deck list. This gave me no time to properly think about non-engine or a side deck or anything like that, and so I ended up with a super rushed dogshit list submitted 1 minute before closing. But it's fine, you know, worst case scenario, we've already qualified for Genesys Day 2, we're currently 24th in Swiss, so it's not the end of the world. We get ourselves some Quick for dinner, which is like a European McDonald's or something. It was actually really nice. And then we head back to the villa for the Belgium game.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Merci beaucoup.
Ciao.
Alright, let's talk about the main advanced event. So, round 1 we get paired against Branded, and we win the dice roll. You know, game 1 we're going uninterrupted, it kind of like signals we're maybe against something like Branded. Turns out we were, and this Branded opponent was not playing Albalinatis. I'm staring at 6 dragons on field, they have Albaz on the field, I'm like, don't you do it, buddy! Don't think about it! I wasn't sure if he like forgot about Albalinatis or something, but no, it turns out he cut it for the hyper-invoked Aeon, and that cost him the match. So we somehow won round 1, which we're very happy about. Round 2, we win the dice roll against Odeon Yummy. Very cool deck, very chill opponent, very fun match. We're going first, game 1, we get hand trapped out of the game unfortunately, and their hand was custom. It was like Marshmallow, Cupsy, and Man with a Mark. So that just played through my hand traps, and unfortunately we lost game 1. Game 2, we were able to full combo through Ash. That's fine, we win game 2. Game 3, we open Fuelos, Perulia, Impulse, and Sphere Mode. So literally 0 engine. Our Perulia gets ashed, unfortunate. We do resolve Fuelos, but he just doesn't do any yummy plays. He pivots to the Odeon plays and then sets a bunch of traps. So we get 0 Fuelos draws. We top deck Boner. That's our only way to play. Unfortunately, that's just not good enough against trap cards. So yeah, we do lose round 2. Round 3, we get paired against Chess Rolad. So very cool deck, a deck we can play with the Red Dragon Archfiend cards, and we take this to a game 3. We narrow the game state down to a point where our opponent has 0 interruptions left. They have resolved a Magical Hats, so they have a bunch of face down monsters, and in my turn, while I'm trying to play, they activate Mind Shuffle to bounce a face down to summon out the BLS from hand, and that's their only interruption, and that one interruption would win the game. I'm pretty sure you cannot bounce a face down monster for Mind Shuffle because it is not a level 7 or higher monster, because it's face down, and face down monsters do not have levels. My opponent's like, oh, I spoke to Q&A, they said it's fine. I'm like, okay, maybe you asked the question wrong, or maybe they misunderstood the question. We'll call a judge. We called a judge, and the judge ruled in their favor. They weren't super confident about it, but I didn't appeal, and like in hindsight, totally my fault. Should have appealed, but we didn't appeal, and that lost us the match. I think because we had already qualified for the Genesys Day 2 event, my heart wasn't really in the main event because I wasn't expecting to do well because I wasn't playing like the most competitive list. Obviously, you should just appeal anyway, but you know, it is what it is. It's in the past now. So 1-2, and then going into round 4, we get paired against Cooltoon. X2, round 4, Cooltoon. What are you doing down here, buddy? How's your tournament going so poorly? Yeah, Cooltoon is almost an unwinnable matchup, especially with this build of the deck. X3 at the end of round 4, we draw, and that's totally fine by me because we still have Day 2 Genesys on the cards. It also allows me to leave the venue and go explore around the Mini Europe theme park and just see some of the sights nearby. Now let me tell you a thing or two about Mini Europe. If you were at Euros and you did not go to Mini Europe while you were there, you missed out, man. That was the real main event. It's like a theme park that was literally just across the road from the venue, and it's essentially all the main kind of like historical buildings and tourist attractions all throughout Europe just rebuilt in miniature form, and it's like a theme park that you go around. It takes about an hour. They were actually really well made. Like, you could take a picture from the perfect angle and it would look like you're actually at that location. So yeah, I got some really sick photos. It was a good time. Definitely the highlight of my Saturday, but boy, Coming back to the venue after walking around for 2 hours in just straight 30-degree sunlight was torture. I was on constant hydration breaks, man, holy. This feels bad to say, but thankfully nobody was doing well in the main event, so we were able to leave the venue early and get some more chill time at the villa, which then takes us to day 3. Okay, so we get to the Sunday, day 3 of the event, the final day of Yu-Gi-Oh! We haven't qualified for day 2 of the advanced format main event, which is fine, I guess. We can forget about that. We're a Genesis channel now, apparently. We did qualify for day 2 of the Genesis Championship, so that's what we're playing on the Sunday. We have 4 rounds of Swiss ahead of us. We're currently X2. To make top 8, I think you're guaranteed if you finish Swiss with a X2 record. So if we win all 4 rounds on day 2, we can potentially play to become the European champion. The top cut map, which is really beautiful, it's the one with the BLS and the DMOC, that gets given out to top 32, which I think you need X3 to make top 32. At least that's what it said on the top cut calculator I was using on Google. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but that's what I want. You know, we can drop 1 match as long as we get top 32 and get the map. I'm happy, dude. I'm happy. But if we become the European champion, even better. Even better. So round 9, first round of day 2, we actually get a little bit of content because we got the feature match for round 9. So let's go over that real quick. So this is actually my 3rd ever feature match. It's always fun to get content out of a feature match, but I've never won a feature match, dude. So we're hoping to break that curse today. We got paired against, of course, to nobody's surprise, another Blitzclick deck. That deck is just everywhere. And we're paired against a guy called Zen, which is a really cool name, by the way. But Zen also has a YouTube channel. It's Strix TCG. So I'm going to link that in the description if you want to check it out and say hi. Maybe he pops up in the comments. Zen, if you do see this, GG's, bro. Yeah, we do win the dice roll, so we are going first. We're not going to spend too long on this. We're going to zoom through it. Game 1, pretty standard game going first. We open up our Power Vice Dragon, which is a combo I showed in the last video. So we're just going through the Power Vice Dragon combo. Let me speed up the gameplay here. Yeah, starting with the Power Vice. Power Vice is going to search for the Darkness Resonator, and then we just go through the combo line uninterrupted until we get to a certain point. So we search Skullmeister off of the Soul Resonator because we already have Bone Archfiend in hand. That's just free, something free that you can do, which is really cool. But on our Red Rising effect, Zen hits us with a DD Crow targeting Synchron. We're trying to summon back the Synchron, add back the Vision. It doesn't matter what he hits here, it still has the same impact, which is taking an end board piece off of the board. So typically with the Power Vice Dragon combo, we end on Crimson King, the trap card, Soul Resonator, and Graveyard, of course, and then Red Supernova Dragon and the Abyss. The DD Crow denying us one of our tuner bodies kind of prevents us from being able to make Abyss alongside Supernova. So we have to choose which of those end board pieces we want to make. And so continuing on with our combo here, I decide Supernova is probably more valuable to have on the end board than an Abyss, because Supernova can't be destroyed by card effects. So it's better against the Blitz matchup compared to an Abyss, which is just a singular negate, which can be dodged, it can be popped by Surge. It's just, you know, I think Supernova is the better end board piece. So over to Zen's turn, he starts by setting a card and then popping it with Grain to special summon itself. And it turns out to be an Alternator, which he activates in the graveyard to search a spell. We hit that with a Skullmeister. Free negate, sure. We're down 1 card on Zen's side, that's fine by me. He then goes on to normal summon another copy of Grain to try and pop it with Surge. And here we just tame the Supernova. The way the Blitzclick monsters work is if they don't destroy their target, they cannot summon. And so if we prevent that with the Supernova by banishing both targets that are on the field, the Surge will no longer resolve, and then he's down to like 1 other unknown card in hand, and it's game over from that point. Game 2 is definitely the more interesting game because I feel like there's a lot we could have done differently. We are going second, we look at our hand, we see double Perulia, DD Crow, Twin Twisters, and Synchro Overtake. So no like real Red Dragon Archfiend engine for us to play with, we need to draw into it with a Perulia. So we fire off 1 Perulia in the draw phase or standby phase, and then in Zen's main phase he starts with the Blitzclick field spell. This is going to give us a token, meaning we cannot activate a second Perulia. So we have to decide here if we want to fire off the second Perulia or not. I'm thinking if we do fire off the second Perulia, we probably just lose because we're going to get 0 draws. He's just not going to play into double Perulia. And he can search Crackle or Whisker with the field spell, and then if he has a breakaway, he can place the Alternator trap card, which can just search the other, you know, Crackle or Whisker. So He would give us 0 draws, and we would have to be playing into a Crackle Whisker with literally just Synchro Overtake. I don't think we win if we do that. So I have to hold the second Perulia for my turn and get some value off of him interacting with us. So we just hold the second Perulia after thinking about it for a second and let him play out his turn. We also get a really cool Jack Atlas token from the feature match table. I do have a DD Crow to banish a breakaway from the graveyard, but he's able to just search another one with the grain anyway, so it doesn't really do anything. Like, DD Crow and Skullmeister just feel so bad to draw against the Blitzclick deck. But he does end up giving us 3 draws, summoning a Surge, a Grain, and a Whisker, and passes on the 2-set back row. From there, it's over to our turn. We start by firing off our second Perulia, so at any time during our turn while he's interacting with us, if he summons from hand, we get to draw a card. Now at this point, while we have drawn a bunch of cards off of Perulia, we don't have a lot of pushes that we can make, unfortunately. That's just the nature of Red Dragon Archfiend. So we're going to get absolutely destroyed by removal. Whisker has a monster negate and destroy on field as well currently. The set Breakaway has 2 effects. It can place a trap from the deck, or it can pop a card. So my first action here is Twin Twisters, discarding a Crimson Gaia, because we have 2 Crimson Gaia in hand. Obviously, you can just chain the Breakaway here to place the Return Stroke, which is a spell negate. So we don't really get a whole lot of value out of popping the Breakaway. We do take away the option of using it as removal, I guess, but I don't know if this was an optimal use of the Twin Twisters here. It essentially just trades with the other set, which was a Cosmic Cyclone. Would have been good on Crimson Gaia, so I guess it was kind of good to get rid of that. But now we're looking at the spell negate on Return Stroke. I try and bait that with a Resonator Call, which he does use the spell negate on the Resonator Call to bounce the Whisker back to hand. I don't care about Resonator Call getting negated because I already have Soul Resonator in hand, but I think he just wanted the Whisker in hand to pop our board. But at this point, we're already down to the 3 cards in hand. He's triggering his Surge and his Grain and his Breakaway and Graveyard to get all of his resources back. And we're still staring down a Whisker negate, a Whisker summon and pop. So it's definitely going to be a very, very uphill battle. I don't know if I could have used the Twin Twisters differently, but yeah, we fire off the Synchro Overtake. We reveal the RS, so we're going to summon Rico from deck, which searches for Mix, and then we can Synchro into the RS, trigger the graveyard effects, and pop some cards. However, I'm now realizing this achieves nothing, because Zen has already gotten his value out of everything on the field. So even if we pop some cards, we're just popping cards for the sake of it. We're not forcing interaction or getting rid of any interruptions or anything. And even if we do summon an RS, that doesn't interact with the Whisker in any way. Whisker can still just summon from hand and pop the RS. So we probably should have used the Overtake earlier on in the turn, before the Twin Twisters, to like force our interaction. Honestly, I don't think there was a way for us to sequence it that would win us the game, because there was just too much removal on Zen's field that we just wouldn't be able to stick a non-tuner, and we would never be able to Synchro Summon. So yeah, like I said here, Whisker comes down and blows up the RS. We see a Thunderclap Monk come down as well, as we resolve the chain and blow up some of his cards with a Mix and the Rico. But we're now staring down 2 Monster Negate and Destroys. We have Soul Resonator, Crimson Gaia, we normal summon Soul, that gets negated and destroyed by the Whisker, and then we literally just have to play with the Power Vice and hope he doesn't negate it with the Monk. So the only way for us to win this was if we drew Swords of Concealing Light off of the Whisker summon there from the Perulia, but we didn't, unfortunately. So yeah, we are going to lose game 2 here. We activate Gaia, we search the Power Vice, we activate Power Vice in hand to summon, that gets negated and destroyed by the Monk, and we scoop him up. So we're going to game 3. Going into the all-important game 3, I'm still not sure if it's better to go first or second. I do choose to go first because I know our win condition is summoning the Indestructible Dragons. We look at our hand, we see combo, we're feeling good, until our standby phase, where Zen drops the goddamn Perulia, bro. That's one of our biggest weaknesses, so maybe we should have went second, I don't know, dude. We have 2 options now. We either don't play the game and lose, or we can make a half board by giving Zen 2 draws and pray that his hands aren't custom. We start off with the Crimson Gaia searching for a trap, we then follow up with the Power Vice, that's draw number 1. Power Vice effect to search. We already have Soul in hand, so the search isn't super important here. We're just searching a card to potentially use on turn 3. So we end up adding a Vision Resonator to the hand, and then normal summon a Soul Resonator. We don't activate the effect because we don't want to immediately lose to a Crackle or a Ghost Ogre. We then synchro into the Crimson King, which is going to search for our other trap card. So we have Crimson King to tag out into the 6k Indestructible RDA. That's our win condition. We have Soul Resonator Protection live in the graveyard. That can prevent like a Grain popping a back row. And then we have our 2 traps, Resonance and Red Zone, to back it all up. And I think we have like Skullmeister in hand as well. So hopefully that's enough. Unless Zen's hand is like super custom. We pass it over, and Zen's first action in his turn is to give us a goddamn Kaiju, bro. Okay, great. We need Crimson King on our field so that our Soul Resonator protection is live. So we immediately fire off the King's Resonance to summon back the Crimson King. Zen chains the DD Crow, unsure if the Resonance targets or not. It doesn't. So DD Crow resolves, that banishes the Crimson King, then we summon back the banished Crimson King, it's fine. So we're still feeling good. He then activates Swords of Concealing Light, which is not a monster effect, so we can't chain the Crimson King. We are forced to chain Red Zone, popping the Swords of Concealing Light. And that's basically all of our actual interruptions just out of the way immediately. He then activates the field spell and starts to play the game a little bit. We do immediately, in response to a monster effect, fire off the Crimson King to summon out the Red Dragon Archfiend. I think he was trying to pop the Red Zone with Grain here, so we protect that with Soul so that the Grain stays in hand. Maybe we should have saved the Soul because Red Zone isn't doing a whole lot here. He's then able to pop the Thunder King Kaiju with Surge because we already used the Soul. Surge comes down, we activate Red Zone to summon back the Crimson King in response to a Whisker. The Whisker resolves, summoning the 2 Thunders, popping the Crimson King and the Crimson Gaia. So that kind of destroys our follow-up. Grain is then able to search for a Breakaway, which is able to place the Alternator. And what I didn't know was Alternator can search any Thunder monster. I thought it just had to search a Blitzkrieg monster. So, yeah, he was actually able to search another Thunder Kaiju and then tribute over our 6k Indestructible RDA. And that was our win condition, just dead in the water, dude. We got absolutely destroyed, unfortunately. I think the only thing we could have done differently here is use the Soul Protection on something more important. Like, we protected Red Zone, and then Red Zone just didn't do anything. Yeah, we do, unfortunately, lose the match to Zen, giving us an X3 record. We now have to win it out if we want top 32 and that beautiful Genesys playmat. Alright, back to the matchups. Round 10, we play against Sharks. Finally, a non-blitz matchup, dude. We played against it 4 rounds in a row. A breath of fresh air all of a sudden. We win the dice roll. Game 1, we make our board, we win. Game 2, they make an Unbreakable Shark board, they win. And then Game 3, I'm feeling a little bit goofy. You know what? You go first, buddy. I'll go second. I'll draw Perulia or Nibiru or something, and it'll be fine. Thankfully, I did draw a Nibiru, and that is like their hard lose condition. We hit them with a Nibiru, and they basically just have to pass turn with 0 interruptions. We just OTK them, we win round 10, we're feeling good, baby. Round 11, we lose the dice roll to GMX Dinos. Apparently, this is a deck in Genesys, I had no idea. But we take it to game 3, we're going second in game 3, and we're able to hit our opponent with a DD Crow, which didn't really do anything. A Skullmeister kind of puts him on a half board with a Dolka, and then we're able to Santa Claus the Dolka, and then we have 2 pushes through 1 interruption, and we're able to take round 11, which takes us to the final round of Swiss, round 12, and we win the dice roll against our final Blitz opponent. I'm pretty sure my tiebreakers at this point are good enough, where if we lose, we're still going to be able to squeeze into the top 32 and get the Genesys playmat, but I do really want to win, because there is still a small chance that we can make top 8 with an X3 finish. Going into game 1, I'm going first, but the only card I can play with is Synchro Overtake. So my opponent thinks I'm playing Cool Tune, and they're like, oh, can you show me your deck list after? I want to see how you're playing Cool Tune in Genesys. I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy. It's not a Cool Tune deck. This match does go to a game 3, but we are just able to squeeze out the 2-1 dub, meaning we finish Swiss with a 9-3 record. And let me tell you, in the top 8, there are 4 X3s. That's the same record as me. I could be top 8, bro. We could be playing to become the European champion. Unfortunately, not the case. I finished 12th place. which is still really good in the largest European Genesis event ever. We earned our Top Cut playmat, which was beautiful. Getting into the top 16 meant we got a box of Chaos Origins as prizing as well. We also managed to represent Red Dragon Archfiend on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck results page as well, and among all of the WCQ events that were on that weekend, we were the only pure Red Dragon Archfiend deck to do well, so Crimson King, baby, that's me. As always, a great event overall. I had a lot of fun playing my favorite deck, of course. Shout out to everyone who came up to me. I met some really lovely people at the event. Shout out to Crumpet TCG for filming some cool shots. Shout out Jess, Kirk, Ethan, and Reese for lending me some cards. Paul, Oliver, and Robertson for coming to the event with me. And of course, shout out to you for watching. We got our top with Red Dragon Archfiend, but the job isn't finished. I'm coming for an advanced format top next. Regionals will be starting up soon, so the grind never stops, baby. Drop a like if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one.